Hello and welcome back to the Strong Opinion Hibs podcast. This is episode 40, Natural Order. As we've titled this one, Jack, because Natural Order resumed last night. But before we get into the game and things like that, how are you doing?
I'm still buzzing. I'm still buzzing for last night. Absolutely bouncing off the walls. Fantastic to see a derby win at Tynecastle, and the girls 100% deserved it. Had an excellent time, and as you can see by my background, I got a fantastic picture with my favourite player, Hibs through and through, Big Shiv.
Exactly. We'll get into that in a wee minute, mate. But obviously last night, myself and you, we were along at the women's Edinburgh Derby, the second of the season, mate. First one, we were obviously there with the Poshos and Hospitality, with our 3-0 victory at Easter Road. And then we were in with the Poshos last night as well, in the away stand, while the Unwashed were in the home stands, mate, at Tynecastle. So yes, in with the Poshos again for 2 out of 2, and 2 victories out of 2 as well. How good did it feel to be at Tynecastle last night? All jokes aside, mate, it's a cracking stadium. It was a lovely venue for the match to take place. And I was really glad that, Hearts returned the favour. I thought it was really professional, and I thought, again, it just draws more people in for the women's game. And I seen as I was walking into the ground, mate, I seen men taking their young laddies and things in with their heart scarves on and that, which was obviously a bit of a shame for them wearing a heart scarf. But it was good to see, regardless, mate, folk getting behind the cause. What's your thoughts on that? I know you're a big supporter yourself.
Yeah, first of all, like you say, that's just phone child line. If you ever see anybody putting a heart scarf on a bare knee, that is abuse. But no, it's fantastic. And what I'd like to say, and it's very rarely I say anything nice about them, but I'd like to say thank you to Hearts for returning the favour and having the game at Tynecastle. It could have been so easy for them just to play it at the Oriam and no return the favour, but they played it at Tynecastle. And it is, I hate to say it, but it's a brilliant ground, Tynecastle, because you're all hemmed in and you feel like closer to the action and everything at Tynecastle. And, even with just 3,000 folk there, the atmosphere was still, I thought it felt like electric. You could tell there was a buzz for their fans and from our fans as well. And yeah, it was great to be in the Roseburn stand, where it's the traditional haunt for all us Highbies when we're at Tynecastle. And it was just great to have a derby at Tynecastle. We all enjoy an away derby. We've got some good memories there from the men's game. So it was good to see some memories made within the women's game as well. And yeah, it was just great to see all the fans of different ages and everything as well. It was also great to see some of my pals from City there as well. It's great to see Lisa Meiklejohn, one of my colleagues from City, one of the players from City there as well. So it's good just to see everybody turning up and supporting the women's game. And it's a big rivalry. I've always said the Edinburgh Derby is the best derby in Scotland, in my opinion. So it was great to see that as well. And it was just an all-round fantastic experience.
So we'll jump into the game, mate. Obviously, in the first derby, we ran out 3-0 winners at Easter Road, quite comfortably as well, I would say. Hearts, I thought, didn't look like much of a team at that point when they played us. They didn't really seem to have a game plan. And Hibs looked, really professional and really well instructed in the home match. Coming into this game, mate, I would say we had a wee bit of a sticky patch, a wee bit of a sticky form. We'd had quite a lot of hard games come up. We'd struggled a bit in the league, facing the top 3 opposition, the Old Firm, Celtic and Rangers. Glasgow City, we dropped points there as well. We'll put out the League Cup to Celtic and all. Also dropped points away to Partick Thistle, which was disappointing as well. So a bit of a sticky patch for us. I probably expected us to, if we're going to be competitive, pick up a few more points in there than we did. So taking that into account, how did you feel going into this match, considering our run of form had maybe not been as our run of form wasn't quite where we thought we might have been? What's your thoughts?
I was still quite confident. I think it's like the opposite of the men, where we are dominant in the derby, very, very dominant, in fact. And going into it, I was like, well, yeah, we've hit a sticky patch, but we'll still come out winners of this, because it's not just the fact that Hearts, there's still a bit of a gulf, but I know it's narrowing, as we'll talk about later, but there's still a gulf between the two of us. It's not just that, it's the players know how much a derby means, especially ones that are Hibs fans, like Siobhan, like Ailey, like Joelle. So I think I knew we were going to win. I thought we were going to be tighter than last time. I knew we were going to win because, the derbies before this, when you look at the 3 derbies previous to this, when you had the 3-0 at Easter Road, like we were talking about, then had 2-0 at the Oriam, and then you had a 6-0 at Ainsley Park as well. So obviously it's a dominant fixture for us, and it's great to see us dominating Hearts, to be honest. So I wouldn't say I was really confident. I knew we were going to win, but I wasn't confident in the respect that, like, oh, we're going to absolutely blow them away. I knew that was going to happen because that's nothing against us. Hearts are improving as a side, so I thought it's going to be close. And also, they'll be buoyed by the fact that they're at Tynecastle. That's their patch, and they've got the support of a home crowd as well. So I knew that it was going to be difficult, but I was still confident because I know the girls are always up for a derby, and I know that we are just a better side than Hearts, and that we've got a dominance over them.
Yeah, I would agree. I think in my predictions and my estimates, I sort of reined it in a wee bit. I think at the start I got off to a great game and I saw them beat Stirling Uni 10-0, and I thought, wow, this is magic. Like, again, it's a 10-0 score, then it was a 10-2 versus Dundee United. I thought, wow, this is goals galore. But I've sort of reined it in the last couple of weeks, and I went for more realistic or sort of closer scoreline. So I predicted 2-1 to Hibs. Which was, I wasn't far off, mate. You obviously got it right with 3-1, but I thought it would have been closer. Number one being at Tynecastle, and number two, it was quite a long international break, I feel. And obviously with it on the form we were coming into the match on, I didn't feel as confident as I knew we'd win, but I knew it was going to be closer. But when the lineouts came up, mate, what was your sort of thoughts? I'll just quickly run through the team. We had Mutch in goals. You had Leishman, Muir, Hunter, Eddie, McGregor, Kavanagh, Gallagher, Notley, Coyle, and Cole and Boyle in the starting 11 with Boyle captain in the side, mate. What did you make of that?
I was quite surprised. I was surprised to see Gabby getting dropped because Gabby's been absolutely fantastic. So I was a bit shocked at that, but I've got to say, fair play to Emily. She stepped up. She was absolutely heroic last night, and she deserved the clean sheet. She really deserved the clean sheet. It's a shame they scored because Emily deserved the clean sheet. The penalty save, she was communicating well with her back line. Her distribution was fantastic. I liked when she wound the jambos up by lying down on the ball. That seemed to cause a stir in the heart. I loved that. She just laid down on the ball. I thought that was brilliant. But yeah, Emily was absolutely fantastic. So I've got to say fair play to her, because when you're not the starting goalkeeper and suddenly you get the shout in a fixture as big as the Edinburgh Derby, it'd be easy to sort of let the pressure get to you. And she's been a bit shaky in the past two games, Hamilton and Partick Thistle. She didn't have much to do against Hamilton, but she looked a bit shaky. Partick Thistle, obviously, she didn't have the best game. But I know Emily as a player, and she's always wanting to improve, and she's always wanting to prove herself. So I think it was great that she came in and had that heroic performance, especially that penalty save. When Hearts got the penalty, my head was in my hands like, oh no, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Are they going to score? Is it going to be a bit? I think it was an excellent save. She gave the Hearts player the old stink eye and just, put her off. She went the right way. Good, powerful save. And then she managed to tip one onto the bar. She managed to tip the rebound onto the bar as well. So I think Emily was absolutely heroic. And for a Hibs point of view, it's close, but for a Hibs point of view, she's player of the match for me. Because some of the saves she made kept us in it at times. And I'd also like to say Shannon Leishman was fantastic. I think without Joelle in the team, Joelle's sort of the heart of the team, and without Joelle in the starting 11, think how are the younger defenders like Shannon and Leah going to cope? Shannon and Leah were both fantastic for me. Shannon Leishman got the official player of the match, and I think that's very much deserved. She was just outstanding for us. Attacking when she needed to, put in some good defensive work. The Hearts players were scared to take her on. She was that good. So yeah, overall, I looked at it. It was a different lineup.
Yeah,
but it was a good one, and it proved that. And like I say, I can't sing her praises highly enough for how good Emily was. And I hope she's using that to get more chances, because the goalkeeper spot should be competitive. We've got two very good goalkeepers in Gabby and Emily, and they should be fighting it out all the time.
Yeah, I would agree, mate. I think, like you said, I think the biggest shock was the change in goalkeeper. Just because you could say Gabby, hasn't really put a foot wrong or a glove wrong, but she has came up against quite strong opposition. With playing teams at the top half of the table, so maybe a rest would have done the world of good. But no, Emily more than stepped up to the plate, and she looked like the number one. She looked like she'd played, quite a number of games, very confident in between the sticks. Before the penalty, she made a couple of cracking saves as well, which would have really helped out the back line, obviously with Joelle missing as well. So I think she really stepped up, and I was really impressed with her. And like she said in her after-match interview, she was going to go the opposite way from which the Hearts player put the penalty, but she just changed her mind at the last minute. So thank God for that. Because I feel like if Hearts had scored that, I felt like the game, although it did go on to be competitive still, I felt like perhaps they could have got. It might have rocked their confidence, and I think they might have got their noses back into the game. Perhaps even, on level terms. But no, I think she was absolutely fantastic. I think a lot of the girls were fairly good last night. I think my sort of thoughts in the first half was first 20 minutes, sort of just cancelled each other out, like I said in the tweet, mate. Just a lot of back and forth, sort of just jabbing, really trying to figure each other out, trying to, feel each other out. And I felt like there was just a lot of cancelling out. There wasn't any real clear-cut chances. However, I think Hibs probably underestimated Hearts. I thought we probably underestimated them. I think we were 2-0 up, which could maybe be. I think their goalie could have done better keeping Boyle's goal out, because it looked like a cross from where I was sat, mate. But I think their goalie has a wee bit to answer with that one. But I think we maybe underestimated Hearts. I think, like I said earlier in the podcast, when we played them at Easter Road, they didn't look like much of a team. Like, they didn't look like they'd played together that long. They didn't look like they had much of a game plan or any tactics or anything. Whereas like Hibs looked like they were well instructed in what they were doing. But last night, I thought Hearts played pretty well. I thought Hearts passed the ball a bit well. They had some good passes to play. Sometimes we couldn't get near them. They were unlucky with a couple of shots they had. I seen a real improvement for Hearts last night. That Hearts team that we've seen in September, mate, to today. But I think deservedly so. Hibs still are one of the better team first half, and I feel like they were deserving of their lead going into the half, mate. Would you agree with that, or give your own thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I've got to echo that, really. I think the first half, the first 20 minutes was a very sort of even encounter. We were sort of sussing each other out, I think. And you could say that for the first 20 minutes played out how men's derbies usually go for the full 90, where neither Hearts nor Hibs really sort of want to, you know what I mean? It was very physical, very stop-start with injuries and fouls, and they were just sort of working each other out. But then we sort of began to get a foothold. I think Rachel Boyle's goal, didn't take it away from her, I've got to say. I mean, the Hearts keeper, I think, completely misjudged it, but Rachel loves it. I've got to say, the Boyles love a goal at Tynecastle, don't they? They love a goal at Tynecastle.
That goal tally must be close, by the way. We had a Martin, like you said at the start of the year. It must be close now.
Oh, it must be. I mean, I didn't have the stats to hand, but it's getting closer, definitely. But, they both love a derby goal because Martin got his brace in Boxing Day 2019, and Rachel got a goal. I think it's the second time this season she's done that, because she scored one that was near identical against Motherwell, where it was a cross and it ended up in the back of the net. But it was absolutely fantastic. And I think that gave us the confidence. It settled our nerves a bit scoring. And then, of course, we've got to talk about it. She's Hibs through and through. My favourite player, Siobhan Hunter. Just fantastic. I thought that was brilliant for Shiv. Brilliant goal. Because you've got to remember, she's a centre-half. You've got to remember, she's a centre-half. And centre-halves, it's not very often that they score.
We were obviously doing the other end, but I haven't seen the replays either. But it looked like a header. Am I right?
Yeah, it was a header, aye. And I thought, well, she's just following the footsteps of Hibs supporting centre-half scoring at Tynecastle, because Mr. Paul Hanlon as well. No, it was fantastic. And you could just see the passion. Knee sliding right over to the Jambos, shushing them when they started booing her. It was brilliant. I loved it. They're all like, boo, boo. She was like that. It was brilliant. And the knee slide as well, right over to them. I knew she was going to do that. I just instinctively knew if she scored, she'd knee slide right over to them.
I thought that was brilliant as well, and I thought it really made for a good atmosphere. That as well.
It did, and that's what you want in a derby. You want the players winding the opposition up. It's all part of the rivalry, and it was just, you could tell how much that meant to her when she scored, and that's why I love Shiv as a player. I always say it. She is my favourite player because she knows what it means to play for Hibs, and truly, she's the only person I think that's more Hibs AF than me, to be honest. I'm sure Shiv has a bucket hat at home as well. So.
No, I agree with you.
Brilliant.
I think if you look at the pictures from last night as well, you can see the expressions on her face. She was absolutely
so happy
to get a goal. I think she was maybe miffed, if I'm right. I don't think she did score in the in the derby at Easter Road.
No, she didn't.
So I think she was deserving of a goal because she plays really well and she commands that defence.
Heart and soul of the team.
She never pulls out a tackle either, which I like to see last night. And
such a passionate player.
Aye. Well, one of the things I noticed as well, like you were saying, I thought it made for a good atmosphere when she did knee slide in front of the Jambos, because you could just tell like how much it meant to her. And I think it set a good tone for the rest of the match, and it set a good tone to let them know, like, yeah, it's good that, you know, the women's game's getting more recognition, and it's good that, you know, Hearts have put it on, but we're no pals. Okay, we didn't like Hearts at any level, no, nothing. Absolutely hate everything that they, you know, represent, and I think Shiv just embodied that when she was like getting it right up them when she scored, and I thought, do you know what? I love Hibs. It was just, it was everything that a Hibs fan would do. You'd want to get right over them, even if there was one Hearts fan or 10,000 Hearts fans. It doesn't matter. Just right over. That was brilliant. Thoroughly deserved as well. So that saw us going in 2-0 to the break, mate. What were your sort of thoughts on the second half? Now, I spoke to a few Hearts fans today that I met, and they thought that Hearts were kind of hard done by. They thought that perhaps they could have got something out of the game, or quite a few of them said to me that, you know, a few of the pupils that I teach said that they thought that Hearts battered Hibs in the second half. Your opinion?
You know what? My second half thoughts are, I don't agree with these Hearts fans saying the better team lost. I think that's just, you know.
No, I think that's an overstatement.
That's an overstatement. But what I've got to say is, you can tell that new coach of theirs is building something. She is building something with them, because they're beginning to look a dangerous team. The second half, we sat off them, I think, a wee bit, especially when they scored. And what was even more annoying was it was an ex-Hibby that scored, Erin Rennie. I think that was.
I know that it was avoidable for me, that one. I think
it was.
Me, you know, the distribution from Mutch, that was one thing. She should have fell on the ball that time and held it, but she distributed it quickly. It was a poor kick, and then Hearts were on the counter attack and they scored. And when they scored, I sort of felt a bit sick. I thought, I hate them twirling their scarves and that and shouting and that. I thought, come on, Hibs, let's get another couple here and shut them up. One thing I will say, Jack, I just want to quickly put this in because I want to hear your opinion on it, mate. Now, for the second half, yes, Hearts were a good team, and you're right, that coach is building something, and we'll come on to that. But I felt like it was quite similar to the Hibs Celtic game. They were already 2-0 down. They had nothing to lose. I felt like Hibs put it into neutral, and I thought Hibs were just cruising it, trying to see the game out. And I felt like we took our foot off the gas, and I felt like Hearts didn't really have anything to lose. They were already 2-0 down, so if they came out and played, then, you know, what did they really have to lose? So I think it was quite similar to when Hibs played Celtic and we were 3-0 down at halftime. Was it 2-0? No, it was 3-0 down after about 10 minutes. And I felt like we came out second half and we just threw everything at them and the kitchen sink. And unfortunately, it wasn't enough. But, you know, it was already too late at that point. What's your sort of thoughts on that? Do you think that's why Hibs sort of let Hearts come onto them, or what?
I think, I don't, to me, I think like we were expecting Hearts to be deflated. That's what the sense you got. I think we sat off them and they just came out and played because, like you said, they have nothing to lose. And, you know, I think we misjudged them a little bit there. And their goal was a very well worked move. And I know you can maybe, if you're nitpicking, you could say about Emily's distribution, but I'm not going to nitpick because I think Emily's fantastic. I'm going to say it was a great move by Hearts. We completely switched off at the back for that one, I think. Erin cuts in, nice finish. And, you know, it got a bit scary at that point. But then, sort of last 20 minutes, we got the momentum swung back to our favour. And, of course, Hayley Adams, which I'd just like to say, I hope Hayley, speedy recovery. You know, I hope Hayley gets better soon from that ankle injury that she got. Hayley had to get stretchered off, unfortunately, which I
really,
we did get sad, but a great goal for Hayley as well. And again, you're talking about the passion with Siobhan, just the passion from Hayley when she scored. That's 2 derbies that she's scored in now. 17-year-old Hibs fan, living the dream. It's fantastic. So I hope she gets better soon, and I hope she can get back on the pitch next year when winter breaks over. Hopefully it's not that serious, but she didn't need to get stretchered off, which was such a shame because you could just see how much that meant to her when she scored. But I think that was it. And I was sitting saying to you, we scored a third goal there, that's them finished. Now it came right at the end, but like I said, I think for most of the second half, it was getting a bit, is our Heart's going to get back into this. But then last 20 minutes, we seemed to find something extra. And we just, the pendulum swung in our favour. I think Gibson, he was forced into two of the substitutions, or one of the substitutions, sorry, we ended up finishing with 10 players, which I think, I know like a few people are have used this, but I think fair enough. You're not going to give somebody a few seconds in a game. I know people would say it's unprofessional, but I think
I thought it was unprofessional. I would have chucked someone on. I just feel like it just sends up a wee bit. I don't know because I'm not a football coach, but I'd have put someone on. That's my team regardless.
I can see where you're coming from, but I think the other substitution, when Muir took a little knock, I think bringing Joel on was completely the right choice, because Joel, the minute we brought Joel on, things sort of got calmed down at the back. Because Joel's leadership and our experience comes in, things got calmed down, and it was not long after we brought Joel on that the pendulum swung in our favour. The momentum swung in our favour, and then there was the Macaloni, and I've just got to say, well done to Mickey for coming back. She's been out; she had an operation on her knee. She's been out for quite a wee while, and it was great to see her back on the pitch. And I thought she made an impact of her own when she came on. She was quite lively. I would have loved to have seen Tony play though, and I think I say it every time Tony doesn't get to play. She's a great player. We've seen that from her. She deserved minutes for me, but I'm not the coach, and I think the players that came on played well, so I've not got any arguments. The subs were spot on for what we needed, especially one with Joelle. I know that was forced, but Joelle came on and Joelle really calmed it down. And again, it was great to see Joelle. She's another Hibs fan and she's a big club ambassador. It was great to see Joelle getting a run out in the derby as well, especially when she's a senior player. It's great to see. So I think, to summarise my thoughts in the second half, Hearts did come out. They did play well. They were the better team for quite a lot of the second half, but last 20 minutes, momentum swung back in our favour. We got a third goal. Overall, all I've got to say is that's 4 on the bounce, Jambos. Doesn't matter, because being the better team doesn't win you games. We've won 4 on the bounce. Natural order. Edinburgh's green and white. That's all I've got to say. Because I think people saw me last night. I was a bit overexcited when we did the full-time reaction. That's just that with me, especially when it's the girls, because as people know, I'm so proud to support them, and seeing them win a derby, and
it's a good feeling, mate.
So special.
Good feeling beating Hearts at any level, it's a brilliant feeling. And
even the girls, it's just that extra bit special because I know them all so well and I go to every game. So moments like this are just that bit extra bit more special.
Just to sort of, like we talked about how Hearts came out and played in the second half, I think it is much to the improvement of their coach. I think their coach is a real good find. She obviously spent a wee bit of time at Houston Dynamo in America. She's also spent a bit of time. No, I was trying my best to research this, and I'll be honest, I couldn't find it. There's reports saying it was Espanyol she was at. You said it was Real Sociedad.
One of the two.
Wherever she was, she's done
a good job.
There's not a lot out there on her, to be honest with you, but I see that they've stepped up their training Hearts to 5 days a week now, and they're looking at physicality and things like that. And that woman sort of done an evaluation of Hearts when she came in, that Eva Ola, their manager, and she said that the Hearts team in the first derby, they'd done a lot of running and not a lot of football. And I think you could see the difference last night. They were trying to be a lot more technical in what they do and things like that. And I'll be honest with you, I think it's great for the women's game, and it is good. It is really good. But obviously, I'm delighted the result didn't go in their way as well. But I think she's a real good coach, and I think Hearts will start to pick up a bit. But they'll forever be in our shadow. So
always, mate. Always
doesn't really matter. But no, props to them. And as I said, it is good to see, because although it is Hearts, the women's game, it is a bit of a friendlier atmosphere, which is probably how football should be. And I think for the majority of fans, it probably is. But no, standout players, mate. It's obviously it's quite hard to put your finger on it. Probably much the goalie, she was excellent. Just to touch on it, to say our congratulations to Ailey Adams, friend of the podcast, Ailey Adams, on our goal. I thought she was brilliant when she came on, looking very direct. I think that's what we missed in the second half. It's like watching the men's at times. It was sideways and backwards, and it was a wee bit frustrating because I felt like we had enough in the tank to kill Hearts earlier than we did. I mean, 94th minute, I think Adams scored, but we had the opportunity to finish them off 60 minutes, 70 minutes. I don't think taking Coyle off Alexa Cole was the right decision. I'd have went two up front and brought Adams on, and I'd went to kill the game just to get the confidence back in the squad. Personally, I feel like Alexa would have benefit for a wee goal, just to get her confidence back up, because obviously the last time she scored was when we had the header at Easter Road. But yeah, I felt Hearts played well second half, but I still think Hibs were in, second gear. I think they could have put it up a few more gears and killed them off. And I think when we tore them open when Ailey Adams went through the middle and shot there as well. I think it was almost too easy for us. And I think had we given them a little bit less respect, at times I feel like we could have killed that game a bit sooner, mate. That's sort of my summary of it. I just want to touch on one last thing before we wrap up. Obviously, congratulations to Dean on leading the squad to a 3-1 win. Watched his post-match interview, and something he said just caught my attention, because he's quite right. But at the same time, I'm not sure. He did say, he thought that we played well, but he couldn't complain if it ended up 2 each. Now, I can see why he said that, because, we pulled off some great saves, and at times Emily Mutch did keep us in the match. But at the same time, for me, like I'd have probably complained if it had ended up 2-2, because I would have felt robbed, because we were 2-0 up and cruising. Do you know what I mean? If I had finished 2-2, I think I'd have left with a sour taste in my mouth. But as we say, respect the Hearts, because the Hearts women did do themselves proud, and they did put on a good display. And hopefully that's encouraged a lot of Jambos to get behind them as well.
Oh, I'm definitely, because it's all about growing the women's game. I think, touching on the players that stood out to me, I've got to say, from a Hibs point of view, my 3 sort of main players were Shiv. Shiv was amazing again. Emily stepped up, absolutely fantastic. And I've got to say Ailey when she came on. And again, I've got to say speedy recovery again, Ailey. I thought she was brilliant when she came on. For Hearts, 3 players stood out to me for Hearts as well. Their goalie, I think she made some good saves as well. To be fair, well, I've got to say she had a really weird number for a goalkeeper. This is just one of these pedantic things I was looking at. It was a really odd number for a goalkeeper to have.
99.
Yeah, it was. I've never seen a goalkeeper have that. You see goalkeepers maybe have 99 or 1 or 13, usually quite a traditional one for a backup goalkeeper. But I've never seen a goalkeeper with 19 before. That was odd. But yeah, that was just it. No, she was brilliant. Their number 6, apart from Polax and Ailey, because it was her that did that to Ailey. Their number 6, she was really physical. Just wasn't letting anybody get by her. The only thing I will say is she got so much as brushed against, she'd be holding her eye like that, and then she was going and bodying people and everything. So I like that. I like a bit of physicality. So if you want to sign for Hibs, you can come to the good side of Edinburgh.
She played well. I've seen she got man of the match for them. Their number 6, man of the match in total.
And then the last player that Hearts played stood out to me is Erin Rennie, obviously scoring the goal. And I was sad when she left us, because she's a good player. She's a very, very good player. It's just game time. She wasn't going to get game time with us, because we've got such a quality squad, and it's about who do you drop. And so it was always going to happen. It's just a shame she went to Hearts, because she's a quality player. So yeah, overall, I was really, really happy. The result, coming on to Dean's comments, I've got to agree with him. We obviously, the fans will complain, because we're Hibs fans. They like a good moan, eh? We always like a good moan. But I think Dean's right. From a coaching point of view and from a tactical point of view, if they'd got it to 2-2, we couldn't have complained, because they came out and made a mark. So yeah, I've got to say that. But well done to Dean. I think 2 Derby wins in a row for him as manager. Actually, no, it's 4 for him as manager. Actually, 4 Derby wins in a row as manager for Dean. Fantastic. So fair play to him. He's got a good record in the fixtures. He's got a better record than most male managers, like male football managers, have in the fixture as well. God knows what male team Hibs managers done that. So it's probably no many. So I think fair play to Dean. He's got a good record in the Derby, and we love a manager that's got a good record in the Derby. So if he wants to give whoever becomes the new Hibs manager some advice at the men's team on how to win derbies, it would be much appreciated, Dean. So yeah, no, really, really happy.
Good point.
Overall, just natural order.
And we'll finish on that note, mate. So, until next time, on the Hibs.